Hey everybody, can everybody hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. Just somebody say something up there in the chat box if you can hear us, so we know we're good to go. Okay, so I'm just going to introduce what's going on here real quick, and then we'll pass this on to Alonda so she can get started with this, so we can get it going. She's got a lot of information to share with us. So for some of you all, it's good to have you here. This is the Synar ECCO update. So for some of you all, it won't be a repeat. A lot of it will be of what you heard in the regional meetings, especially the ones who were in the first 2 or 3 meetings. You got to hear a lot of this. The last week of the regional meetings, we had to kind of go quickly through the Synar piece. So Rhonda and we decided to set this Synar up so you guys could hear everything and make sure you understand how this Synar is going to work in ECCO. So if you have any questions, there is the chat box. We'll be trying to keep up with that so Alonda doesn't have to keep her eyes on that the whole time that she's going through this, and we'll try to make sure that you get your questions answered and everything while we're going through this. So we don't want to take up any more of Alonda's time. So I'm going to pass the presenter mode on to Alonda, and we'll get going with this.
Good morning, everybody. Can you all hear me okay? Somebody type in the chat box to let me know that you can hear me. TTA Center, can you hear me okay? Okay, great. Hope you all are having a great day. As you can see, my screen right now, so I've logged into ECCO, and so I'm going to be logged in under testing agency, but you would use your own login, and so your screen should look something similar to this. You remember during the trainings, we were talking about those 5 blue boxes versus the 4 boxes. So if you can see where my cursor is, this lets you know when you're under Synar, because you're going to have the one in the middle, the little building in the middle. So you would click on that, and so I clicked on it, so now it's highlighted. And so like John said, we just really wanted to come back and do a recap because at some of the regional trainings, the Synar portion got cut a little short. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the process evaluation today. We're just going to kind of go through that, but more or less spend more time in the merchant tracking tool because that's what most people had a question about. So where my cursor is right here, when you hover over it, you see report process level evaluation. So you would click on that, and everybody should have a screen that looks like this. So you got master total reach, community mobilization education, merchant education, law enforcement related activities, and media and public relations. And just like we explained at the training, all 4 of those outside of master total reach are the same category headings that you had on your compliance report. So they've just been taken out and now they're here in ECCO. So I'll click under master total reach really fast. You remember Jessica trained everyone on how to basically use this. So you're going to be putting in your reach. You're only counting people one time. So make sure that you don't count someone double. So that's the main thing to know about that. And you're going to follow that the same way you do for all of your other interventions. So Synar is no different. But if you have, let's say you have a youth that is doing something in one of your other interventions, then you can still count them under Synar. You just don't count them twice under Synar. So that's the main thing. So if they were counted in something else, that's fine. You can still count them for Synar Master Reach. Just don't count them twice in Synar Master Reach. So you're counting them once per year. Any questions about that? Okay, I don't see any questions. All right, so we'll hop on over to community mobilization and education. And we have Rhonda here. She's joined us.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay, So definitely, send us a chat if you have a question about anything, and we'll try to answer those as we go along. So then under community mobilization education, the first question is identification of community partners. So you're going to simply click yes or no if you identified or determined the level of interest and involvement of community partners. As you can see, if I say no, hold on, let me edit. If I say no, then nothing happens. And you see I had to just go down to the bottom. So if some of you open up your browser and you try to click within there like I did just a moment ago and it does not go through, always go to the bottom and click edit, and that unlocks your screen for you, okay? So if you did not identify community partners, you would say no. If you say yes, then you get these other prompts, 7.1 and 7.2. And so this should look very familiar because we went over it in the training. Then also same thing for 8, community leadership. The main thing for you to remember right here is if you took the lead, not just a meeting that you attended, and it needs to be something specific to reducing youth access to tobacco products, so something specific for Synar. So no, you don't get a prompt. If you click yes, then you get some more drop downs, and so on and so on. Same thing even with this one, so then you get some additional ones. So any questions about that? Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because we talked about this a lot in the trainings, but we really want to get to the merchant tracking. Okay, so then if you jump to merchant education, if you click in this box, that's how you get those to come up. So see how I'm clicking in the box? So you have 3 different ones in there, identification of tobacco retail outlets, you have merchant education, and community youth group partnership. So the way you get additional prompts to come up is by clicking on it, okay? So for identification of tobacco retail outlets, you don't have any additional prompts. Really, that is just basically saying that you know how many stores you have. And so now at this point, everybody should know how many stores you have because you've all been sent your list and hopefully you have uploaded them into the merchant tracking tool. So then if I click back again, then I'm saying merchant education. Still don't get an additional prompt under that one. But on the third one, community youth group partnership, now that's where my additional prompts come from. And the difference between merchant education and community youth group partnership is if you are a provider that use youth to do your merchant education versus you're doing it yourself. So if you are doing it yourself as an adult, as an employee of your agency, you're going to click merchant education. If you use youth to do your merchant education, then you're going to click under community youth group partnership. Any questions? Okay. Then we have law enforcement. Now, I wanted to point out something. Remember, if you do the tobacco purchase surveys, that's going to be under the community mobilization down here, okay? That's where you're going to answer those questions at right there. But under law enforcement related activities, this is going to be if you actually partner with your local law enforcement and you do compliance checks with law enforcement present. So that's the difference. So your tobacco purchase surveys, which is the non-enforceable compliance checks, they're going to be up here for community mobilization. You're going to put them in there. The law enforcement related activities, that is actual compliance checks with law enforcement present. Okay, so for 13, if you say no, you don't get any additional prompts. If you say yes, then this is just asking you to list the law enforcement agencies that you contacted, and then you have a scroll down box that gives you some choices on their level of support. And one that we pointed out at the training that's going to be really good for all of you is not interested, because we still want you to get credit for at least reaching out. So if you did reach out and you attempted to partner, then all you have to do is click not interested, and then that lets us know that you have had those conversations, and then we know that, you know, it's not on you, you know, for whatever reason they were not able to partner with you. Then 14, so assuming that you've reached out to them and you've listed the name of the law enforcement agency that you're partnering with and you've clicked their level of support, then you're going to click right here. And this is where, and this lines up on the compliance report that you all turn in. You know, you have those bulleted items that talk about how you actually partner with them. So develop a comprehensive list of retail tobacco outlets. You all already have that. So that is, you provided the list, which you would essentially provide the list. You recruited and age-tested youth for enforcement. You served as an adult observer or monitor during the enforcement operation. You made sure that there were incentives for clerks who did not sell tobacco. You made sure that there were refreshments or incentives for youth. You assisted in coordination and recruitment of store employees to participate in retailer trainings conducted by law enforcement, and retailers were cited for violation of youth access to tobacco, and they were recruited for a follow-up training. So you would click in this box and click on the ones that are relevant. Okay, so this is showing how you assisted in the implementation of tobacco compliance checks. Any questions? Nobody has any questions? Okay. And then last but not least, your media and public relations. So this one is saying collaborated with community partners to create news stories, letters to the editor, billboards, newsletters, public service announcements, et cetera, to increase awareness of youth access to tobacco laws and penalties and publicize compliance inspection results. So no, you don't get any additional prompts. Yes, then you get a drop-down box. And this is similar to how some of the other categories drop down, and you're just going to select which one is relevant and put your answers in those boxes, paid or unpaid, you know, earned media. And then if you had more than one, remember this plus sign right here where my cursor is, so you can always do another box. So it just drops down even more. Okay, and then 16, collaborated with community youth organizations to conduct a merchant pledge. So I don't know if you all remember, but at the trainings, we were asking if you all had ever done a merchant pledge campaign. And this is just another activity that you can use to build that support in the community. So the whole idea is to get retailers to commit to not selling tobacco products to minors. And so if they commit to not doing that, then you have them to sign a pledge. And then if they sign that pledge, then hopefully you would then publicize those results. And so then if I say yes, then I get another prompt, how many merchants pledged not to sell, and then specify where you recognize those stores. And so you get another drop-down box. So it's asking you, are you going to do it through print ads? You're going to have a newspaper article? Are you going to do a TV ad, you know, letters to the editor? How are you going to recognize them? And that's pretty much that. So this is your process evaluation. You're going to, like I said, this is in test mode, but you have your drop-down box for each month. You're going to come in, you're going to select the reporting period whenever you do it, and then you will simply answer those questions. And you can keep up with this. We're not requiring you to do that each month. I mean, you have to report every 6 months, but if you want to kind of keep a record of it, it makes it easier if you did it per month, but certainly you don't have to. And then your master reach, again, this is counting each person once a year right here. So that's pretty much it for the process evaluation. Any questions while I load up the merchant tracker?
Well, on the Shay,
Yes.
you have a question there. So does Danielle. The Shay asked, do we need to go under each category and select no if it is something we didn't do, or we can just go in and complete the sections under the category we implemented?
Wait a minute, your voice sounds muffled. Can you say it again? I'm sorry.
I know. It's, can you see the chat box where the questions are? Down at the bottom right.
Oh, okay. I was looking under the chat thing. Okay.
A couple of questions there from Deshay and Danielle, since I'm breaking in and out, just in case you can't hear me very well. But Deshay and Danielle RF both had questions.
Okay. All right. Let's see. No, they're. Wait a minute. I'm trying to see how. Can you open up the box? You can't expand it. Can you open this question box? Can you make it bigger?
You can slide it, click and slide it out so you can make it bigger out of the dock.
Hold on just a second, guys. Can the box on the side get open? Like, it can't be bigger. Oh, okay, there it is. Okay. Okay, so the Shay, okay. Do we need to go under each category and select no if it is something we didn't do, or we can just go in and complete the sections under the category we implemented? That's a great question, Deshay. I would just say no. If you didn't do it, just say no, just so that it's clear, so it doesn't seem like you haven't done anything under there. Let's see. Will we be able to pull reports in a helpful format, Danielle? Can you tell me a minute what you mean by other reports? I'm not sure I know. You know what she's talking about. She's saying, will we be able to pull reports in a helpful format?
A reference to pull a report. I think I would have to defer that to Jamie or Jessica if they on the call about if the providers will be able to pull reports, because I don't know who have access to ECCO.
John or Jamie, can you speak to that? To Danielle's question about, she said, will we be able to pull reports in a helpful format? Do you know the,
Jamie is not on, and me and John do not know the answer, but we will find out.
okay, so we'll find out about that, because I'm not sure which kind of report you might be referring to. Okay, and then another question, are we still required to enter data into a compliance report?
So I have to just specify what when they talk about, is I talking about the Excel spreadsheet, the hard copy? Because I thought we were having everyone to enter their data into ECCO as of September 1, right?
Yes. So you remember during the training, Danielle, Jessica was saying that for now you may have to enter it in both places, but the hope is that next year that everything would be over in ECCO, because it was something about the confidence level of the financial piece or something, and so they wanted to make sure that ECCO would be able to capture all the data. And so until that point, then they want to make sure that it's in both places. So it would be, you would enter it in the compliance report and then also in ECCO. That is my understanding. But let me know if that doesn't answer your question. Lindsay, and we have to manually enter the list that you sent us. We can't upload the list. Are you saying that you haven't been able to upload the list? If you're having an issue with uploading the list, a few people emailed me and let me know that it was a little glitch in their login, and we were able to contact the developer, Marcus, and he was able to get those lists uploaded. So if you are having issues with uploading your list, just send me an email and we can get that taken care of really quickly, okay? It is not our intention for anybody to manually enter a list. So if you're entering a list manually, it's not supposed to be like that. So just send me an email and let me know. Okay. So I think we got caught up on
All the questions?
If we're entering data income, we also, okay, I answered that. Okay. All right, so now I see where you all are sending questions, so I got you. Now, sorry about that. I was looking under the wrong category under chat. Okay, So we'll move on to the merchant tracking tool. So I'm back at my home screen. You all see the little building in the middle for merchant tracker. So you're going to click on that, and you should have a screen that looks like this, okay? Then I'm going to go to the, okay, so I'm right here. So again, you can, once a list is uploaded in here, you can sort your merchant, you can sort by merchant address, you can search merchants. You can also search by zip and search by county, okay? So there's no merchants in here. So I'm going to do it for you the way that this should look if you were starting from scratch, okay? So I'm going to click this button to upload CSV file, and it's going to take me to where my list is. I'm going to select this top list right here. Click open. All right, so you all see the success, merchant details added successfully. This is what you should see on your screen. And then remember, we say you might have to wait a couple seconds, because what we want to see is where my cursor is right here. We want to see this update. That's what's supposed to happen. But sometimes you might have to wait just a couple seconds, couple minutes to give it a chance to update. Okay, wait a minute. I did something. Hold on. Okay. So you see how I just refreshed that? So that's kind of like your go around. If for some reason you do that and you have that little pause for a second, you can always go up here and hit your refresh, and it'll take you out. And then when you come back in, then you'll see that the list is updated. So see where my cursor is right here where it says merchant uploaded 218, and it's given the date that I did it. So I updated it on today, September 25th, 2018. So that's how you would upload your list. You're going to click this button right here. It should take you to a section in your computer. You'll pick wherever you have the list saved at. You'll hit open, and then you should see that success prompt that came up on my screen. Wait a couple seconds. If it doesn't pull right up or you don't want to keep waiting, you can always go over here and refresh, and it'll take you back. And then when you click back in it, it should be up there. So you can see as I scroll down, I have all my stores in there, and you have about 50 stores per list. And it's paginated so that you can just click the forward and then go to the next list, okay? So while I'm in here, what I'm going to do, because I want to show you how what a downloaded CSV merchant list looks like, I'm going to pretend I'm going to add a merchant education visit. So let's say I go out and I do my merchant education, and let's say I don't use my phone or some other mobile capability. So I have that form that you all that we sent to you all. So let's say you have your paper copy, you fill that out, which should look like this. So then let's say I come in, I say, spoke to a manager, and I'm going to say yes. The visit was completed, so I'm not clicking there. Receptive, something, took materials and said he would give to team. Okay, so I put manager was really receptive, took materials and said he would give to team. Type of merchant education, let's say it was a routine visit. Then I'm going to click my date. I did this on this past Saturday. Was the youth tobacco access law signage visible? Yes. Follow-up needed? No. But let's just say if I said yes, then I could write type of follow-up, and it could be manager call visit, or this would prompt me to go back and do a compliance check, and this should be tobacco purchase survey, but that's what the non-enforceable compliance check, because remember we talked about it's like a natural progression for merchant education. So you have several different activities that you could do. You could do merchant education, you could do the tobacco purchase survey, you could do merchant pledge, but some people want to know, like, okay, in what order should I be doing these in? So naturally you will probably do merchant education first. Then as you go out, if you see that there's issues, let's say the signage was not up and you say no, then you would definitely say follow-up needed, and then you would say type of follow-up. So maybe this is the second time that you've gone to this store. Let's say you've done the merchant call visit, you've already followed up, then you go back again, they still don't seem to be in compliance, then maybe that time you say, okay, I need to follow up and we need to get ready to do the tobacco purchase survey. And so remember, the non-enforceable compliance check or tobacco purchase survey, those are the ones where you use the youthful looking 18-year-old. So you would end up age testing some youth to make sure that they look below the age of 18, but they need to be at least 18, because if you're not using law enforcement, then you can't use a minor. The only time you can use a minor is when there's law enforcement present. So if you do a tobacco purchase survey, make sure that they are at least 18. Okay, so let's just say for the sake of me filling this out, I say manager call, right? So then I'm adding another visit. So let's just say the next time I want to do that, and I say follow-up needed, yes, no. I'm just making up something. Let's say I went back the next day, which you would never do that, but I just want to put some things in so that you can see what it looks like when I download a list. So let's say state fine non-compliance. That's why you want to go back. Okay, so then I'm going to save this. It's been saved successfully. Now I want to show you what it looks like whenever you download the file. Okay. So you see how you have this drop down right here? Whenever you download a list, this is how you know that you have successfully filled in those merchant education visits, because you see all this space between the first merchant right here and the second merchant. And the reason why you have that space is because when I scroll over, then this is where it starts giving me information about my merchant education visit. So you remember I filled out 2 different merchant education visits, okay? So this one right here, this first line, that's my first one. You see the visit notes right there, the type, and then routine. Then if I go back, here's my second one, okay? And so that's all under pit stop, that merchant name. Does that make sense? Okay, so you would just scroll across the top to see your information for that merchant. And then when you get to the end of there, and so it gives me my created on days, my updated dates, and then I have merchant education visit, and then I have the record of the 2 times that I visited. Any questions about that? Does that make sense? And so then once you, continue to enter these all the way down, you could print it off, you can cut and paste it out, put it in another document if you wanted a clean document for a record of all of them, however you want to do it. But that's essentially what it would look like whenever you download the file. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty much that. You see how I uploaded. I'm looking at the questions. Does anybody have a question about anything that I just did? Or about anything regarding Synar in general? We have Rhonda and Jessica is now in the office as well. Do you all have any follow-up questions for either of us about anything we went over at the training or we did not go over at the training that you all need clarity on? Jessica, they did have someone, let's see, I think it was Danielle. She asked if they were still supposed to, if they were required to enter data into the compliance report. We told her that for now.
It's until, hello everybody, it's until, it's definitely for the first one in January, until we can get the bugs worked out in ECCO to make sure that our information is accurate. We're going to have people do both for at least another 6 months.
Okay. The Shade just asked, does the process data need to be entered monthly or just as activities are completed? We're not requiring them to enter it monthly. That's really up to you guys. I mean, it will make it easier if you just wanted to keep a track of it. We just want it every 6 months.
Right.
But, so you don't have to do that.
You can set your own internal staff policy however you want.
Yes. Does that answer your question? Mark is asking, can we complete the drop-down answers on our file prior to uploading the list? The problem with that, Mark, is it has to be the same categories on your list. And so that was part of the reason why I asked you all to send me your list prior to us going live with ECCO with this merchant tracking tool, because there were specific categories in ECCO. So if you answer drop down things prior to that and then you upload the list, it's not going to be captured. So you see here on my screen, if you don't have it in this order, then it's going to throw things off. So what I would say is probably no. I wouldn't do that. Can you tell me what other when you say drop down answers, you mean for the merchant education visit, like answering those in your spreadsheet, or are you talking about something in here, like where my cursor is when you say drop down answers? Are you talking about the answering questions for the merchant education visit or for the tobacco survey, or do you mean up here where the dashboard is? And that was an old question. So Mark is asking about, can we complete the drop-down answers on our file prior to uploading? So I'm just trying to get more clarity on, because the way it's set up, it has to be in this order in order for it to upload correctly. Marcus did say that if there was other things that you wanted to capture on the list, it would just have to be after. So this is your last category on your list. So and this is the notes section. So on all of your merchant lists, you have a visit notes column. And so from what I understood him to say, if there were other things that you wanted to capture that's not found on here, that you could always create additional columns. But now that I'm looking at the merchant education visit and how it populates, if you were to do that, then I'm not sure, like right here, where the merchant education visit column starts, I don't know how that would impact that. Like if it would push everything over or if it would still load correctly or what. So, Mark, just give me a little bit more details about exactly what you mean, and then we'll get some more clarity from Marcus about that in general. Any other questions? I know you all might be typing, so I'm just trying to pause for a second. Okay, so I don't see any additional questions. We did want to make sure that we reiterate that we don't want you to give multiple red flag packets back to back. So I know that some of the providers have really ramped up their merchant education efforts, and we so appreciate that. But just make sure that whenever you go out, so let's say some people have had really high turnover. So let's say you go to a merchant in July, and then it rolls back around and you're able to visit them again in October. Let's make sure that we're being strategic in how we disseminate the red flag packet. So if you happen to go back, then let that be like a follow-up check, and then assess their needs. So if they ask you for another one, don't just automatically give another one just because you see a different clerk, especially if you talk to a manager to start with. So unless you know that there's been, a change in leadership at the store or something like that, there's no need, because I think that was a question that someone had one time before. Do we give a separate red flag packet just because there's a different clerk in the store? And that answer is no, particularly if you gave it to a manager the first time. So there's no need to give them another one. Maybe you just want to come back in. Maybe your second time going back is just to kind of check and see, how things are going, see if you see the statute, if you see the law signage up. And then I would encourage you all, most of you, whenever you order, you end up ordering at least a packet or two of the law signs. But I would encourage you, whenever you put in your order, to always get some of the law signs, because that's probably what you will see more so than not that you need to give multiple copies of, and not so much the red flag packet. We are currently under production with the red flag packet, so they should be up and ready to go here in the next week or so, or if not, at the end of this week. And we also have the Spanish finally in production as well. So you all just check back to the website. I know we've had a few people ask about it in the last couple of days. So we're currently out right now, but they are in production as we speak. So there should be some more up there really soon. And you should be able to order English and Spanish now. Okay. Any other questions? We actually got finished sooner than I thought. Okay. Well, I don't think there's any other questions. Alex, you have anything to say, or is John or Jamie back on?
I'll just thank everybody for listening and tuning into the webinar today. In about an hour, y'all will start to receive an email for a survey, and if you will please fill that out, we would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you all, and please feel free to email me or Rhonda with any questions that you have regarding this ECCO reporting, process evaluation, merchant tracking. That's what we're here for, even if it's very specific, even with what you're supposed to be reporting, or, call us if you need that information. My direct line is 919-715-2339. Again, that's 919-715-2339. So if you need me to walk you through something, if you have a question, once you go into actually upload your document, please let me know. Lindsay, I know you were saying something about manually entering definitely we don't want you to do that. So if anyone else has fallen into that predicament, please email me as soon as this is over and let me know so that we can get your list uploaded for you. Or you can just try that little trick that I did when you saw that pause for a second. If you go back and refresh your screen and then pop back in, it should be in there. So if that doesn't work, please let me know. Okay? All right. Well, if that's it, we're going to sign off, and we will talk to you all another time. Have a great day.